Our community spotlight today features the Nampa Family Justice Center, and this is just perfect timing with the integration of Java and Learn. And talking about the Nampa Family Justice Center today is Alyssa Groen. She is a licensed social worker. Alyssa is the assistant program manager at the Nampa Family Justice Center, and she has been with the organization since 2016. She started as an advocate and then moved into the elder care or elder project coordinator position, and then moved into her current position where she helps manage all of the grants that the Nampa Family Justice Center receives. And as we heard Dara talk about earlier, this is in and of itself a huge, huge project and one that helps to keep this organization going, in addition to overseeing their elder abuse program. Prior to this, Alyssa worked as a contracted case manager with Family Connections, Inc. And the Family Connections, Inc. works with families involved with child protective services and as a program director in the developmental disabilities field of social work. Alyssa graduated with a Bachelor of Social Work from the Dordt University in Sioux Center, Iowa, and currently is a licensed social worker in Idaho. So Alyssa, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you. Again, I'm going to thank you for your time and for the work that the Nampa Family Justice Center offers.
So just to tell you a little bit about the Nampa Family Justice Center, our mission is to promote safety, self-sufficiency, and hope and healing to those affected by abuse. And so how we do this is we provide a trauma-informed approach with clients by making sure that when they come into our center that we're really listening to their needs. Can you go to the next slide, please? So some of the ways that we do this is we provide services for those that are victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, elder abuse, human trafficking, and stalking. And we do serve victims, so it can be a primary victim or a secondary victim, but we do not serve offenders. Next slide, please. So if you understand the Justice Center model, it's having all victim services or different services that can benefit victims all under one roof. And so we have several great on-site partners that we collaborate with that are here located in our building. So a victim doesn't have to go all the way across town to get services. They can just come to one location to get all of those services. And so some of our partners are Adult Protective Services. We have Nampa Police Department. We have different counseling agencies. We have Idaho Legal Aid. We have our sexual assault nurse examiners and several other partners. So some of the services that we provide is we can help victims file a civil protection order. We can help with that paperwork. And then we also can help them at court. We can help support them as they're petitioning for that protection order. We do a lot of safety planning and crisis intervention. But one of the services that makes us a lot different than, let's say, like FACES in Boise, is that we will work with victims wherever they're at. So if they're in crisis, we're going to work with the crisis. But if they are, past the crisis and now they're trying to get to a place of self-sufficiency or hope and healing, we're going to work with them long-term. And so we have victims that even have past abuse. Maybe they were victimized as a child, but now want to kind of deal with that. So we'll work with victims no matter where they're at. And so some of the services that we can offer is counseling. And we do have counselors that take different insurances, Medicaid, Medicare, private pay, but we also have funding to provide crisis counseling. So with a licensed therapist, we can provide some counseling for free. We also have master level interns that also can do some counseling for free. We do have a little bit of a wait list with our counseling right now. So we try to plug clients into our groups. We have several different groups going. We have a Trauma 101 group. We have a Boundaries and Codependency group. We have a Healthy Relationship Support group. We also offer different groups for teenage kids as well. And then we also do that case management, especially for clients that are wanting to get to that self-sufficiency. One of the things we can't do is we cannot give legal advice. We do have Idaho Legal Aid in our office, and we do use them quite a bit. So if we have legal questions, we can always go and talk to Idaho Legal Aid. And then also, we don't have a shelter, so we can't provide shelter services, but we do provide some emergency housing. Depending if it's a safety situation, we can maybe put somebody up in a hotel. And then we work with a lot of different partners to try to figure out where we can put somebody safely. Next slide, please. So when a client comes into our center, we're going to meet with them. We're going to have an advocate meet with them. The advocate's going to listen and really listen to what does the client want? What are their concerns? And then that advocate directs that person to the right resources. So a lot of times, if it's maybe referring them somewhere, we like to do more of a warm handoff because we want to make sure clients are actually getting the services that they need. Next slide, please. And then one thing about our services is they are at no cost. So clients that come in, all our services are for free. And we do take walk-in clients. We also take appointments. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And we serve clients wherever they're at. So we don't just serve clients that come from Nampa or from Canyon County. We have several clients that come from Ada County, some of the rural counties, Hawaii County, Adams County, Washington County. We'll serve victims that are fleeing domestic violence, maybe from another state. So location doesn't mean we're not going to serve you. If there is, if somebody from Boise, if they can get services maybe through Faces or somewhere closer, then we are definitely going to try to plug that person in. Next slide. So one of the things that we have here at the Justice Center is an elder abuse program. This program started in 2011 through an Office on Violence Against Women Abuse in Later Life grant. Last year, we were awarded another continuation grant. And through this grant, it has allowed us to have not only the staff to provide services to victims of elder abuse, but also allow us funding to be able to provide resources. So with this grant, we have money that we might be able to help somebody with rent, or maybe a gas card to get to different services, or maybe help with some legal help. So depending on the situation, we do have some funding available for that. Next slide. Oh, and sorry, you might have to click it several times. So with this grant, we have a coordinated community response to elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. And with this grant, or because of the CCR, it's basically a team of professionals that we identify different gaps that are in the system. And then when we recognize these gaps, we try to figure out what are some solutions, or how can we respond to this? And so some of the things that we've looked at is, improving different policies, best practices. We have an outreach and education committee that just met for the first time last month. And with that, we're trying to educate our community. So coming up with maybe some really short trainings that we can really specifically identify specific entities. So like a bank, or maybe a nursing home, or even I've gone out and spoken to different realtors because they're seeing different scams that are going on with elders. So really trying to spread the word on what to do when we see elder abuse happening, and how can we help somebody. We also try to leverage resources and reduce duplication of services. So one of the things that the CCR has really allowed us to do is to collaborate with a lot of different agencies. So instead of working in our own silo, we're able to work together to really use the resources we have. We don't want a client to go to several different agencies and get the same services. So we want to be communicating with one another and figuring out how can we best use the resources we have, because oftentimes they're very limited. And then also one of the main goals with this is really to increase victim safety and hold offenders accountable. Next slide, please. So one of the things that committees that we have for our CCR right now is trying to create an emergency elder shelter. As most of you know, there is not an elder shelter in our community. And so we've been doing a lot of research looking at what's happening around our country and how can we create something where when we have a victim of elder abuse that needs to get maybe out of a situation, to be put somewhere safely for a short term. And so we've kind of created, this is a model that's taken from one of the agencies that we're working with, partnering with to basically kind of create this shelter. I want to call it a virtual shelter, but really what it is it's partnering with lots of different entities. So it might be a skilled nursing facility. It might be a certified family home. We are partnering with the Boise Rescue Mission, and they are willing to use their rescue lodge for a placement for an elder. So what's happening right now is if an elder is in an unsafe position and maybe they can't stay at home because of different things are going on, but we really need to place them somewhere. A lot of times they're just being brought to the hospital. So we all know that if it's not a medical need, the hospital is not the right placement. And so what we're trying to do is create different places that this person could go to on a short-term basis, so we can figure out how to either eliminate that abuse or get that person to somewhere, to a safe place long-term. And so this committee is in its early stages. We have a lot to talk about and logistics to figure out, but it's really exciting because especially with our partner with the Boise Rescue Mission and their willingness to want to create an elder shelter. So if anyone's interested in being a part of our CCR or maybe being on one of our committees, please reach out to me. Next slide, please. My contact information is right there. That's my direct line and then my email.